back with Kevin Harry. Producer by day, creative genius, doing your zine at night.
That's it.
Talk about that. How did that all come about? How is that working out for you?
There was a real life lesson in doing the zine.
Okay.
Now, I've always loved photographs, and that's just from my loving magazines and just my childhood and just loving images.
Now, the rumor has it that you are a big magazine collector.
Huge magazine collector.
How many do you have?
You know, I don't even know. I had a Manhattan mini storage.
Wow.
That had a lot of vintage magazines. They've turned into sort of research material for me, but I also enjoy them. I enjoy, it's a time capsule.
Okay.
So I can pull a magazine from 20 years ago, and it's amazing to see the progression. So for instance, I have a collection of covers and articles on Madonna.
Okay.
From very early when she was
a material
just
girl,
a star, and now she's a superstar.
Right.
And so it's interesting to go back and look at those. So, so I've always loved images, whether it's ads, photo sessions, or layouts, and I've always loved taking pictures.
Okay.
I come from a family of picture takers. My mother always had a camera, so I'm certain that I inherited that from her. Okay. And so over the years, I would take pictures, and when I moved to New York, well, if I back up, one of the things that's always influenced me is the African American Festival in Detroit. Back when I was a kid, we would go. And I feel like I would take pictures with my eyes. But it was really very memorable. So, but in addition to taking pictures, so I moved to New York, and I would go to festivals, and I would just take pictures and take pictures, and that was happening. And I'm still loving the magazines that I'm reading. And if I see a great image, it really does something to me. So take all these pictures, take pictures, take pictures, take pictures. And they were on my computer. Right, okay. And had thought over time, maybe I'll do something with them, but didn't know what I would do with them. And so a lot of things happened sort of simultaneously. I would collect zines. And so what they are for your audience is they're basically self-published. Right. You can call it a pamphlet, but in fact, there's no advertising, and they reflect whatever it is that you love. And they started when very famous artists wanted to share works. So if you couldn't buy a $150,000 canvas, you could buy a $15 zine from an artist. And sometimes inside it would have drawings and stuff. So it was a way to make things accessible. And so these days, a zine can reflect anything. If you like butterflies, you can do one on butterflies. It can be a page, 2-page, handwritten. There's no rule. They don't have advertising. Right. That's the trick. And they generally aren't too super slick. So, but for me, and you don't have to worry about the whole production of putting a book together. You don't. You can do it any kind of way you want. So, because I have this fascination. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have a fascination for arches. Do you? So you could do it. You literally could do Charlie's Arches or Charlie's Favorite Arches. Oh my God! And someone out there would love your zine. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out what I would do with the photos, and people were saying to me, you should do something with the photos. And at the same time, I'm collecting zines, and I love them, and I would find great ones. But it was rare that I would find them with black people in them. So I would go into the places that I buy them. And whenever I saw them with black people, I'd just go crazy. I'd sometimes buy a couple copies. And it got to the point where when I would walk in, I'd say, y'all got any zines with black people? Right. And they'd be like, we got this one. They'd show it to me, and I'd buy it. But it was a search and destroy mission. And so almost at the same time, I published some images on Facebook that people flooded me with responses, like about 5 years ago. And I just posted the images from the Puerto Rican Day Parade, and I just got all of these messages like, oh, I love this, I love this, I love this, I love this. And I still was apprehensive about doing something. And I remember vividly one night, a friend sent me a direct message, and it was kind of harsh, saying, stop playing. You need to do something with these now, and I'll help you. I'll write something, but just do something. So then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, I can't find zines that I like, so let me just do one that I would buy. And so I just took a bunch of pictures and emailed them to FedEx Kinko and said, put these in a pamphlet.
Okay.
And when I went to pick them up that night, my world changed.
Okay.
My world literally changed. Because suddenly I saw it on paper.
Paper, right.
And what I realized is, and I think there's a great message in this, you have to just
Do it.
You can't be afraid.
Right.
Even when I was doing it, at some point I was concerned about whether people would like it. But then I thought, well, if I like it, that's all that matters.
Because you can create your own audience.
I need to do the work that I would buy.
Right.
That was really what this was about. And it was also the opportunity then to show the images of black people.
Right.
So in no particularly fancy kind of way, just
do it.
Us.
Yes.
And so whether it's a zine or whatever it is, you have to banish the fear. I think the landscape is littered with projects that could be blockbusters.
Truly.
But people sit on them because they think, well, I need to do this, or it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
If you do that, it'll never be ready. And what I have learned is when people look at my zine, they don't go, I wonder why he didn't put that picture in.
Right.
They don't know.
Right.
So they don't know what you haven't. So meanwhile, you're struggling over that.
Right.
And people are going, I cannot believe Charlie didn't do. So it opened my world in any number of ways that you just have to do the work that you love, and it will find an audience.
Right. But I find that to be the biggest thread or the biggest challenge for most creative people. Is that they worry about the negative approach as opposed to just putting it out there. Because I even had my struggle with putting this podcast out, because then I was naked to the world. And I realized, just do it. And you just have to just move forward and do that in order, because then therefore you're sharing what you have with the world, and there's going to be an audience for what you have, for whatever you create and whatever you inspire to create.
You're 100% right. Art is nothing if you don't share it. Exactly. So I had all of these photos on my computer.
Okay.
Thousands. They meant nothing because I was the only one looking at them.
Right.
I loved them.
Yeah.
But suddenly I thought, I've got to let that barrier down.
Well, I mean, looking at your zines, I can tell you have that eye, like you said. You can capture you can bring, like the Puerto Rican Day Parade. You brought the Puerto Rican Day Parade to everybody that was on Facebook and everything because of your eye and what you saw and the uniqueness and everything, and just not the one, in your images are all, from the women to the guys,
everybody.
Young, old, everything. And I love that about you. What inspires you the most when you or who inspires you the most when you're looking at your from a creative lens? Yeah.
So you have to trust your eye. You have to trust your instinct. You have to not reference too much. You have to. So I trust my eye.
Okay.
It's my eye.
Right.
I believe in it. It served me well. I also, Charlie, since I was a kid, I've been looking at images. So I know what makes a good image, but I also know what makes me pause when I see an image. So when I'm shooting, I'm never really looking for any one thing. And people ask, what is it? I just know it when I see it. It's not always, I know a lot about fashion, and I've covered fashion. And it's not really even about that, because if you look at the zine, if you look at some of the people, they're not in the latest, but it's always something about a person that attracts my attention. And often I can't even tell you what it is. And it's interesting to be with people. Some people will say, oh, hey, Kevin, shoot them. Yeah. But it doesn't move me.
Right.
It doesn't move me. Or what I've learned is, so I don't shoot unless you know I'm shooting you.
Right. Okay.
And I don't beg you to shoot you, because that energy comes across. And so I always ask people if I can shoot them. And I always make sure that they look at me. Like, I think that's the key, that they look at me. Right. Some people will do a fancy look away.
Right.
Look at me.
Right.
And they'll even ask me, what should I do? Just be you. Whatever you want to do, if you just want to stand there.
Now, what do you use? Are you using the phone? Or are you using
I use a digital camera.
Okay.
And the equipment is important, but I think the eye is more important than the equipment.
All right.
Because you can have the fanciest equipment, but if you don't know
How to use it.
and if your eye isn't zooming into
Right.
things that move you and that matter, then it doesn't really matter.
Right. So what's next? What's next on the horizon for Kevin? What are we
I'm
creating?
still really enjoying the zine. As a matter of fact, this is a gift to you.
Okay.
That's yours.
I love it.
When people ask me that, I say to them that I'm not done with sharing these images.
Okay.
And I really love the way people respond to them. And one of the things that's happened is, and I think, legacy is a big word, but I think one of the things that I love and appreciate is how seeing your photograph in here makes people feel. And one of the most poignant moments, which takes me back to why this still is working for me. I'd like to do some documentaries and some film work.
I can definitely
some of
see
it
you
based on this.
Yeah.
I've shot film of a lot of the people that I take pictures, so I'm like juggling the camera with the Super 8.
Right.
But I'll tell you a story that I think is more valuable than the zine.
Okay.
When the first issue came out, there was a party.
Yep.
And I invited some of the people who were in the issue to come to the party. And there were 3 guys who came to the party, and they brought their mothers. And so the mothers hadn't seen the images in the zine. And when they saw them, it was just priceless. It was like, look at my child. And I'm not overstating it. It was a big moment. It made them so happy and proud of their kids. Less about me,
Right.
and more about what it did for them, and wanting to take a picture holding the picture.
Right.
It sort of remind me, and you'll get this when we were younger, and if we appeared in the local newspaper, and your mama cut it out by 20 copies and send it to everybody to see their child.
Exactly.
I mean, in this case, it was like, let's take a photo with the phone so we can text it.
It was like Mama, I made it. My Mama, I made it moment.
Yeah, and I was...
Or even like when Kende Wiley, when he puts his images of everyday people in some of his paintings, people, and they bring them into the, to his shows, his art shows, people are always like, oh my God, I can't even believe that's me up there, first of all.
Listen, I received a DM from a guy who said that he had lost a family member, and looking at my photos saved him, helped him with his grief. The cover, this cover, Afro Punk.
Okay.
His father, he showed me a picture. He sent it to his father in Chicago, and his father had it propped up on the fireplace. Like, you have
This is my child.
a candle, you have Martin Luther King. I'm not placing that, but he was so proud of it. He had it propped up. And when I saw the photograph of it propped up on the fireplace, I thought, what a gift to this man. Once again, not about me, but what it does for people. And not long after that, his father passed away.
Wow.
But it was just this moment when he showed it to me, I thought, oh my God, that the work that I'm doing has the ability to move people. I was weaving through the projects in Brooklyn, and I heard, Kevin. I'm like, I don't know anybody here.
Right.
And I was like, must be. And it was a group of guys who I had shot the previous summer who remembered me. And it was just a hello, they come running up, and then it was dap, it was, hey, what's up? And I just thought, how great. It was just a great.
So where do you shoot your images? Do you go to festivals only? Is it every day
I usually
shooting?
I say that people come to festivals ready to play.
Okay.
And so they come, when they walk out the door, they're ready.
Yeah.
And so I find like a great receptive energy at the festivals.
Okay.
So I, most of the time, I shoot there. And it's just been a labor of love. I have not tired of it. It's fun. When a friend of mine said recently, and he's right, he was saying that he was with me at one of the festivals, and he goes, Kevin won't even eat. He'll start at the top of the day shooting in the hot sun. And I'm like, I'm hungry, listen. And so, but when I get into it, I really get into it, and I don't want to leave, and I don't want to miss anything, and I'm surveying the crowd. But one thing I have to share, and a lot of young people ask about this as it relates to the zine, and if they're watching and people thinking about their projects, I say to young people, you have to save your money.
Okay.
They ask how this happened. You know, you have to, especially when you're young, because then you can fund your own projects.
Yep.
And when you can fund your own projects, you do them the way that you want them to be. You don't have to answer to anyone. So I always tell young people, as best you can, save your money so that you can make the film that you want to make, that you can do a zine, that you are not often beholden to people who have to, and if that's what you have to do, that's fine. That's certainly no issue with that, but especially if you're young, if you can save your money, and then dip into your funds, at least maybe for the lion's share or to do a prototype. I think that's really, if that's possible, that's always, but then this crowdsourcing is a wonderful thing if you can't do that.
Beautiful thing,
it's a beautiful,
no, it is. It is. So this is your 4th issue. Are you working on another one? What do you have going on right now?
Want a sneak peek?
Yeah, let's see it.
So, Charlie, okay. Only for your eyes.
Okay.
You are one of the first
to
see the new cover.
Oh, wow.
So it'll come out early summer, and I'll give you, sorry y'all, but Charlie's getting a sneak peek.
Oh, hot.
You like that?
Love it. Oh, they're gonna love it.
Is it working for you, Charlie?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Is it working for you, Charlie? Is it working for you, Charlie?
Okay. I don't think they're ready. Yes.
Sorry, y'all. Charlie gets the sneak peek.
All I can say, ladies and gentlemen, be ready for this.
Hold up, Charlie. Are they ready?
Oh, yes.
It's a labor of love.
Yes.
It really is.
It really is. I see that. Do we go anywhere outside of the zine? Do we, after your career as a producer of Insider Edition, are we doing a film? Are we going to take this and broaden this out? Do you have an interest in doing that?
So one of the things that I really, really love, I love documentaries.
Okay.
And I have a list of documentaries that I want to write and shoot and produce.
Okay.
I prefer doing these sort of reflections on real people, real things. I'm not sure, never say never, I won't say that I would never ever do a film, but there are some issues and some people that I'd love to focus my lens
on. Well, I can see you going down that road, but the last question, I can see you going down that road. The last question is, how do you love the way you live?
You know, one of the things is, and I've learned this over time, is to, as best you can, be fearless. And to ask yourself, what is it that I love? And do that.
Okay.
And just do it.
Right.
And do it without concern about being judged. I love this.
Yes.
And so it matters to me. And it comes from a soulful place. And I think when you do that and it's authentic and you're not trying to play to an audience or play to a crowd, then people receive it.
Okay.
And so that just makes me happy when I'm working. And so that's part of it.
Okay.
That is, I think, part of loving the way you live.
Yes.
Doing the things that you enjoy. And a lot of times these things are right in front of you.
Right.
I say that to people all the time. They're looking left, they're looking right for some kind of satisfaction. They're looking for the satisfaction from their day job. I love my day job.
Right.
But that's not my full life.
Right.
And so for me, the photos were right in front of my face.
Right.
But I was kind of, and then suddenly, with the help of friends who said you need to, and I think,
and you'll help a little social media.
Well, and
put it out there.
I think God speaks to you.
Yeah,
I think things happen when they're supposed to.
happen.
Because when this kicked off, I was enjoying it so much, and people were responding, and I remember saying, well, how come I haven't done this sooner?
Right.
But it only happens in the right time.
Exactly.
It won't happen before. When it happens at the right time. And that's why you have to be ready.
That's true.
And you have to receive it, and you'll know it.
Okay. All right.
It's the right time for Love the Way You Live with Charlie Lewis.
It's all right. Yes.
This is the right time. This is the moment.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And I want to thank everybody, and I want to thank my guest, Kevin Harris, for coming out today.
Thank you. This is really wonderful to be able to share
Yes.
my point of view.
Totally.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. This is great.
Thank you, thank you. Well, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, you can find Kevin Harry at In Love the Way You Live NYC. I'll have all his social media
Love
handles.
the way you live.
Yeah.
Love the way you live.
And until next time, continue to celebrate life and love the way you live.
Love the way you live.